give her a minute to resend it. I'm sorry, we thought we sent it out at 3.
Can you guys share it on the screen so we could look at it now?
Yeah, we will. John, you want to go ahead and put it up on the screen?
Okay, I'll go ahead and share.
I can't.
Hold on. Is this?
You may want to mute Marquez. Mr. CEO, I'm at a remote location and Marquez is working to share this today.
Oh, okay. So who's at the dentist's office?
Right.
So that's it that you see on the screen.
A 40% split.
And the difference being the one that I think you all are might be most interested in. I think the one you all sent me had the city share of 35 million, and ours had the city share at 30 million. Oh, let me reiterate. The ultimate decision makers in this will be the county commissioners. So whatever we agree to, if we agree today, I'm going to present it to the county commissioners tomorrow at their committee of the whole meeting. If we can, or even if we don't, I'm going to present whatever outcome we come up with tomorrow, just officially. If we agree, or even if we don't agree, and then of course it's up to them to either agree or disagree or come up with alternative proposals.
All right. I just sent to the mayors the sheet that I sent out with the 40% allocation so they can see what it means to them.
Okay.
Y'all should be getting that right now.
Mr. CEO, how did you arrive at the 40% versus 30% in terms of county share?
Well, it was basically the only difference is in terms of the countywide amount. I believe that for me, just philosophically, if you look at the expenditures of the budgets that we presented up until this point, the great majority of what we've done has been countywide. It's been inclusive of incorporated and unincorporated. And TJ is on there, and I think the unincorporated and the city share is just based on population. And the significant difference, and my belief is that the largest number in my mind is countywide. That speaks to the approach that we've used. I've tried to avoid unincorporated quite expenditures because it's almost impossible to do when you're fighting a pandemic and a germ. And but so that's really the significant difference is how much how much the original proposal designated for countywide. This proposal increases the amount for countywide, and the impact on the city share, like I said, is $5 million. I think you all recommended 35, and this proposal recommends 30 for the city share.
Well, I can see from your original budget, you had basically, about $71 million spent total, budgeted, and that was
and then you had 54 million as a second wave. Out of that 71, 25 million of it was for public safety frontline workers, which were which did not included some cities, but didn't include all cities. Obviously, depending on whether or not the police was a city function or a county function in terms of workers. Actually, no, I apologize. You're right. It was 17 million. Public safety was 25 overall. So let me redo that in numbers real quick. So that would leave you $4 million for all countywide functions after this. Based on your previous budgets.
Right. Based on, yes, I think that's right. I don't disagree with it. I'm not looking at it, but that sounds correct.
Okay.
And the challenge is I just hadn't figured out a way to do testing just in the unincorporated or provide mental health in unincorporated. I hadn't figured out how to address right now 3 of the, well, you know where the hot zones are right now. The hot zones for new infections is in Brookhaven, Chamblee, and Doraville. But it doesn't matter because these germs doesn't care anything about corporate limits. So it's just the nature of the fight. It's an existential enemy we're fighting. And I just haven't figured out how to fight it with county lines or city lines. I don't know how to do it that way. I don't know how to fight food insecurity that way. So that's why I would hope the commissioners will support me in thinking that the most important in terms of the fight is the countywide, which, you all, you may or may not think that's important. It doesn't necessarily impact the city share. It's just, I think in terms of the strategy we put in place, that's why I did it. And like I say, the difference, the part that you all, I would think, are primarily concerned about is the city share. And the difference between what was proposed by you all, by the mayors, and what we're proposing is $5 million. At the end of the day, bottom line. Is that right, Bill?
No, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of points here that I'd like to make. One is, I think regardless of what the split you use is, I think there's a lot of things that we're going to have to work together on over the next 6 months. And I think small business support, all that kind of stuff, we're going to have to figure out a way to get together on that kind of stuff over the next 6 months. I don't think either one of us can do that without the other one and do it effectively. And I say that because there are businesses in every city in DeKalb County, and probably half the employees don't live in the city. They live out in the unincorporated area. So I think it's important that we understand that regardless of how we split this money, we're going to have to work together in making the best use of it over the next 6 months.
I agree wholeheartedly. And see, I just think, and it's not a criticism, but the thinking that went into the original strategy was absent of understanding as to how local government, cities and counties actually operate. See, one of the challenges about this is the human service component of service delivery is basically a state function. Public health is a state function. Mental health is a state function. DFACS is a state function. All of these, and they're not, quote, county agencies. So what we've been what we elevated our thinking is that we have to use this money to help the state help us, because we don't control it. I don't control it. the Board of Health is a state agency. It's not a county agency.
So, piggybacking on what Bill just said, which is that I think that's like you. I think we're saying the same thing, Mr. Thurmond, which is that we're going to have to work together on some of this because they don't know county lines or city lines, and I don't know what you're hearing or if you've heard that the testing infrastructure seems to be really stressed the last week or so, including still today. And my intention with some of the CARES Act money that I got from my city was to investigate putting another testing site back in Dunwoody, at least part-time. But I presume we're all going to work together on some of these county-wide approaches. Isn't that your assumption, Mr. Thurmond?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that we're learning the hard way up here is that there's still a lack of understanding about what you're supposed to do if you're exposed, quarantining, and we're working a little bit on a communication strategy to partner with the public health department. So, and I also would think that as the year goes on, that perhaps there are opportunities to share additional expenses that impact, more than our cities need it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Mayor Lynn, see, one of the things that I hope we can work on, I mentioned we entered into an agreement with the food bank, $600,000. They will host food giveaways in your city. They just need a partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's already paid for, and we would like to work with some of the cities to just partner with you all just to do food giveaways, the fresh fruits and vegetables. That's already paid for. We just need partners. We did one. I know the mayor said we had one in Clarkston. So those are things that we just need partners to do.
Right.
And you all don't have to spend money on it because it's already been invested in.
Right. And then PPE supplies, mask. I was on a call with Joseph and several Doorville nonprofits, and a lot of people are really struggling to acquire PPE, and that can't be unique to just our community. I don't know if we can talk about it another time, but incorporating some kind of PPE giveaway with some of these food distributions.
Oh yes, and yep, the COVID kits we do give away, but that it's we can reinforce each other. And just the purchase of them, since we have a stockpile, we can buy 1 million masks. We don't just have to buy 40,000 or 50,000. Buy 1 million and then distribute them throughout the county. It'll just expedite the process and, use the suppliers that we have. All of these things we can do. But look, that's the only way we got any shot of winning this battle. I'm just telling you. And, when you think about where we are right now, you're talking about $125 million and it's $5 million difference. I mean, that's Mayor Ernst is a lawyer. He knows that's a good place to be, right, Mayor Ernst?
No, it sounds like we're almost quite there. As you know, yeah. Mike, you take numbers and you start throwing numbers out and try to meet in the middle. So, with that being said, if going to the fact that I think there is going to be a lot more teaming up issues. There's some, obviously there's some cities, I don't see any of them here at the moment, but that are covered by your police, and such, that, and such that we, if we go to 35, it's we're really just talking about $2.5 million,
right.
which is about 10%. We're at less than we're at 2% difference at this point. And we get there, then we are, I think that the partnerships that we can, have money to be put back into the system, into countywide, and is there. It gets the money out somewhat quicker.
I'd like to echo what Mayor Ernst said. For those of us that have mean, we have our own police and fire, and for us to be able to pay that additional first responders pay, hazard pay, just that meeting in the middle would help us a lot to go with the 35% and add the 2.5 million to help us out, especially with those of us that have our own emergency services personnel in terms of police. And in our case, our fire department has also been quite active in our emergency response to the pandemic.
And they have, and we depend on Decatur's fire department to backfill, and you all depend on us and see whether it's Clarkson or Lithonia, when there's a capital offense, all of them end up in the same location. So they all have to have the PPE. They all have to be protected so they can be protected from one another. So really it's just one system, the truth be told. So Mayor, did you say split it? What did you say, Mayor? Let me make sure I heard him right. Because
I know I'm a rambling guy, and I apologize, but I did say basically split the baby 35%.
And so wait a minute. So what would that number be, Bill? Help me out. I'm
Okay,
not smart. I'm a little older, so
35% number, if I've done my math right, and would be, in lieu of the 15, they'd be 17.5 million of 35% of the city's distribution.
Oh, okay.
Which would leave the cities with a distribution of about 35 million. So it's like you said, 30% is 5 million difference. 35% is, 30 to 40 is 5 million. 35 is 2.5.
I believe the CEO has been using a little different population figures, maybe 2019, that actually shows that Mayor Ernst's city is slightly larger than Stonecrest. And so that's I believe, the most recent data in terms of numbers. And I believe the numbers that we were using that Bill sent were based on 2018. So it's not much difference, but there's a little variation in that as well. And it recognizes that Brookhaven is the larger city. So Mayor Ernst, I don't know if Mayor Larry's on the call, but Mayor Ernst is happy about that.
Yeah, and see, I don't think we use the per resident population statistic. TJ, are you on? TJ Siegel? TJ? See, we didn't use that particular data point to come to it. So we're all saying the same thing. We're just using different data to get there, I think.
Yes.
Right. At some point, we'll have to figure out whatever that total is, then how it's going to be distributed to the individual cities.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at your chart. I'm seeing if I can calculate it here, but I don't.
Come here, TJ, how did we get to our number? Explain it for us.
So the number is based on the 2019 population estimates. So if we're looking at the 40% proposal, you'll see that it has the DeKalb population, and really that's DeKalb minus the city of Atlanta, since they got a direct allocation. And then it has the unincorporated population and the city population. And those are what determines what percentage of the is left over after the countywide share.
I just put the numbers in your own database. I believe the city share would be 32,624.96, with the countywide share of 43,869.516, and the unincorporated share of 48,851.463.
That's correct. That's what I have as well.
Okay, that's at 35%. So I think it's basically right at 2.5 or so mil.
Yeah. That's kind of, TJ, is that, you understanding? Is that what I'm thinking? Is that what you think? Is that what I'm actually thinking, what Mayor Ernst just laid out?
Right. So this would really, kind of, I think as the mayor said, split the baby between the 30% that DMA had in their proposal and the 40%. So instead of 30 or 40, it's 35%. So that's a $43.9 million share for countywide. The unincorporated share would be 48.9 million, and then the city share would be 32.6 million under this allocation.
Yeah, but philosophically, the countywide needs to be the largest share. See, that's it doesn't matter. I know you all don't. It doesn't impact what you're getting.
Well, the unincorporated area is the largest share at 38, basically 39%.
Right.
Followed by the countywide share of 35%, and then the city share of 26%.
So using our formula, it's just going to end up where the countywide share is larger than the unincorporated share. I think that's an important philosophical position to take. I mean, it's to say it doesn't impact what's coming to the cities, but it does impact, I think, philosophically and politically what we're trying to accomplish.
Well, I mean, that is correct, but under our old proposal, that was also the case. The countywide share was at 30%. Our proposal, we were at 28%, and the unincorporated area was at 41%.
So using TJ's formula, how do we get to the same place, TJ, using the formula that creates the largest share for the countywide? That's important to me.
So if we're using the 40% formula that we had originally talked about during this call, then that would be basically the breakdown then is it's 40% for countywide, it's a little under 36% for unincorporated, and just a hair over 24% for the cities.
Do that in aggregate dollars. What does that mean in dollars?
Okay. That would mean $50 million for countywide, roughly 45 million for unincorporated, and 30 million for the cities.
But then when you add what Mayor Ernst, quote, splitting the baby, that it should get them to 32 million plus, right?
Well, I think when you do that though, that changes the countywide share as well. It does get them to 32, but then the countywide share would be decreased.
I know.
So unless we were going to decrease the unincorporated share to get the city.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can decrease the unincorporated share, because that's who's really the countywide people. They gone. They're not at the table. So who's here is unincorporated and incorporated. So if you decrease the incorporated by 2.5 million, right? Wouldn't that work out to what the mayor is trying to do or suggesting?
I believe so. If we're willing to take 2.5 million from the unincorporated share and put that towards the city share, it would get us there.
Yeah. What do you think, Mayor Arts? Is that okay?
I mean, that gets us to 35% for the city share overall. I mean, at that point, you're arguing what pot of money you want to split it to, whether it be countywide or your unincorporated area. That is your decision how you want to put it in. I don't think, I'm looking at all my mayors and the screens. I don't think anyone would care where you decide where the money is, whether it's unincorporated or incorporated. How you disclose that is up to you.
No, I want y'all to care too, though. I want you to care too. You got to care. I get it, but you got to care too, man.
You don't care. I mean, heck, if that's the case, we could go back to our original proposal and you just you could change the monies whatever you want. But I think
I understand.
I think the cities would be okay with, if we're at 30, and I'm looking at my mayors, all my fellow mayors, everyone's okay with 35%. I think we're good.
Okay.
And we care. We all care.
We want to partner with you. So I think that this is a good message to send. We want to make sure that we're able to take care of first responders and others. So I also appreciate you being willing to work with us on getting to 35%.
And again, the great thing, you and I talked about it, Mr. CEO, in the very beginning, Fulton County, the great message that, Fulton County, when, the mayor said, hey, give us some money. And the county commission said, nope. And the, Gwinnett County and all these other counties, the fact that we could actually work together and come up with is a lot more powerful in terms of, obviously we all want extra dollars to spend, but I think the actual being able to come together as DeKalb County is the most powerful message we can send.
Thank you. It warmed my heart when Mayor Lynn and Mayor Patty and Bill all said that we're going to be working together on some countywide things. I mean, that's important. I'm just telling you, it's not that easy to accomplish. You just looking at it. It's just not.
This virus is something else. That's all I have to say. And the challenges that we're going to face are going to, like someone else said, the businesses that we might help to save, the employees come from all over DeKalb. And the people we help with PPE are going to be from all over DeKalb. And the need for some kind of testing infrastructure approval, if we can make it happen, would benefit the entire county. So this is just the beginning of what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think everyone is under agreement. It's, the fact that we would now be able to budget whatever, and then we can be working back and forth. Hey, we need this or that. And maybe some city can spend it all or not spend it all. And then we work in partnership on how we get this money out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
And I think to do it as, to make one distribution, I think other cities are going to look jealously on our cities here in DeKalb County before it's all said and done.
I think that is, that's again, thank you for that last meeting, that saying, hey, let's just do this one time so we're not going back and forth, because we don't need to have any fear of am I getting approved or not? Get it in, and let's move forward and get this spent to try to help all of DeKalb County.
And to that extent, Vivian Ernst is our county attorney, is working on the IGA. So you all can alert your county's attorneys. If she hadn't already contacted them, she will be as soon as we can get the IGA done, assuming we get the support from the commissioners. And, it's going to be important because they speak and analyze independent of me. And so we have to sell this to the commissioners, and assuming we can get their support, we get the lawyers in the room to come up with IGA and understand the process, and then, we move forward.
I did speak with Commissioner Gannon and Commissioner Jester today about a different matter. But I said, hey, we were having a conversation and we look forward to it. And we, you tell us who we need to communicate with as soon as possible to help out on this. They thought that there would be 4 votes or something like this. But, obviously whoever, there's going to be some dissent on this, because it's, because I don't think you get anything through, right, Mr. CEO, without a dissent of someone?
Every now and then we pull it off, but there's a harmonic convergence every now and then. But I think if you would, reach out to all of them, particularly the presiding officer. I think everyone, this would be a moment in time where a 7-0 vote would be significant, to be quite honest with you.
I would 100% agree. Whatever we can do to make that happen. Obviously I'll ring the presiding officer today myself. And I know Eric Clarkson will call up Jeff Rader. That would probably be the most, the best lobbyist possible for Jeff Rader. I kid, Eric.
No, he could call me. That's the other thing. Or he could call me. Either one. Is Mayor, is he on? I know he's on. Come on, Mayor.
I don't know why he's muted, but so, I think we get with Jeff, Patty, and such. Unfortunately, I don't see Stonecrest here, which is kind of unfortunate. But I think all the mayors, everyone that touches you needs to call out their commissioners and say, hey, if we have a great handshake on the 35%, then we, that we say, hey, we got a handshake. This is going to be great if it's 7-0, and we can move forward, and we can have a nice virtual press conference or a masked one, talk about how we actually are working together here in DeKalb County.
Absolutely. And what we'll do, we'll get TJ and Mr. Lois can send you all our agreed to formula and make sure it's what we agreed to. And then we'll go from there.
And Mike, one of the points I think is important is that every penny of this money gets spent in DeKalb County. Okay, it's all spent in DeKalb County. I think we're working together to make sure it gets into the hands that it needs to be in quickly. Absolutely. It's encouraging, really. So let's go ahead and close the deal. And I'm going to present it to the commissioners tomorrow. I'm not sure how they're going to proceed with their agenda, but hopefully they'll expedite it and move forward.
Okay. This great meeting, great news. All the mayors, we need to get on the horn with all our county commissioners, and immediately, so that we can move this forward to help you out, Mr. CEO, so that we try to get that. So,
and give me some time. Let me get it cleaned up and forward it to them so they'll know what it is you all are speaking of. So we should have that within the hour. We'll get copies to all the commissioners, so when you call them, they'll have a reference point as to what has been discussed and agreed to between the DMA and the CEO, with the understanding that it'll be presented to them officially tomorrow.
Okay.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madam President.
Can we solve anything else today? I mean,
Mask. It's all mask.
So who's doing a mask in ordinance? Who's next?
I think the governor has to let us do it, or he has to do it himself. So we'll see.
We do have a resolution that we're going to pass, strongly encouraging, and we're going to put out a lot of signage. And we've seen some signs from other places where, like, our city passed a resolution, wear a mask. And so we're hoping some people don't know the difference between an ordinance and a resolution, right? So
that's not a bad idea. We'll see what
that's a really good idea.
So we are going to pass a resolution, or we have a resolution that we're looking at on a call meeting on Wednesday morning.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Everybody have a good day.
Y'all be safe.
You too.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you all.